just hit 300,000 subscribers, which is both impressive and also slightly concerning. But what better way to celebrate than to tell you exactly why I with honey badgers so heavily, and why you should too. So get some scrumptious snacks, put your feet up, and enjoy this completely unbiased honey badger glaze. Now, there are 5 main talking points that, to me, make the honey badger such a lovable, aggressive little turd. The first being a rather obvious one, namely their ungodly strong mindset. There is a good reason that Randall, all those years ago, said that honey badgers don't give a shit. A truer and more accurate statement has probably never been made by a sentient being, because this description sums up these little ball-munching gremlings in such a perfect manner that I could pretty much just rest my case here. But that would not really make for a great video, would it? So please do allow me to yap some more. Anyway, one thing that makes honey badgers such incredibly intimidating little demons is that they do not really give up, like ever. If they cannot run away from a hazardous situation, they confront it in the most head-on, aggressive, and unjustified confident manner possible. Something that is sometimes enough to scare away the king of the jungle, and even damn tigers in India. And as you will see throughout this video, this cognitively unyielding mindset of theirs is present in almost all their life endeavors. And it's literally the one defining trait that allows them to be such a pocket-sized little calamity to begin with. And if there is one thing these walking middle fingers are known for, it's their lack of self-preservation when meeting larger foes. Just take a moment and think of the 3 most deadly animals in Africa. The chances of a honey badger running a fade with one of them in the past, present, or even as we speak are almost guaranteed. And we don't even need to rely on whimsical anecdotes from some random bushman to verify it, as most of these encounters have been documented on film several times. Now, even though these encounters do actually happen, the reason behind them is not really as sensational as most YouTubers in the space would have you believe. Because while the honey badger is indeed a batshit crazy little fiend, it rarely seeks out these fights on purpose. Usually, this crackhead energy comes out as a last resort, if, for example, it isn't able to run away from said danger, which often isn't a viable option for them, as they are actually slow as shit. But regardless of whether it's intentional or not, it's still metal as heck. Since this strategy only really works if they show levels of fearlessness rivaling even Chuck Norris himself. And this obviously requires some straight-up god-tier balls, which they happen to possess both figuratively and literally. And they need to sell it so well that even lions start second-guessing their place in the food chain. And if you've seen what lions have to deal with on a daily basis, that is easier said than done. Now, lions are not the only homicidal creatures getting slapped around by these striped menaces. Hyenas also throw down with them regularly. Leopards get checked often, and even massive soy boy grass eaters like antelopes or even hecking elephants get to feel their wrath. Although the latter rarely goes that well for the badger. For the most part, though, honey badgers do try to stay clear of such confrontations, and usually just roam around eating whatever they can find on the ground, like carrion or insects. They aren't really picky eaters, so they will eat basically anything. They can also hunt a lot of smaller animals like snakes, lizards, rodents, and even sometimes shoot their shot with African porcupines. Even leopards have a hard time hunting these oversized hedgehogs. The secret to the honey badger's survival rate when dealing with all these professional ops lies in its straight-up insane physiology. But before we get into that, my human overlord has insisted on telling you guys about his damn coffee mugs. So just hear me out for a brief moment and we will get back to the video shortly. We've got honey badgers, wolverines, giant river otters, and plenty more to choose from. Pretty much every single animal footage you see on this channel is bought and paid for. So grabbing a mug genuinely helps support the channel and lets me make even bigger and better videos in the future. And they are all sure to brighten up your morning coffee or your afternoon tea. So check out animalsrecapped.com or simply click the link in the description. Well, I can't lie. Those were some pretty metal-looking coffee mugs. Another thing that is completely metal is the honey badger's biological defense. You've probably heard people yap on about how thick and loose their skin is countless times, and that is definitely a big factor in what makes them so tough. But there is one key property of their compact little bodies that often gets overlooked. The fact that they smell like absolute horse shit. You see, honey badgers actually dabble in weaponized chemical warfare. They basically have the ability to spray out an oily, extremely foul-smelling secretion from where the sun doesn't shine. This secret weapon is why, in a lot of the videos we see of them confronting large predators like lions or hyenas, the predator at hand seems to try and keep its distance, which is not necessarily because it's scared, but literally because honey badgers smell like rotten eggs. And if it wasn't enough with one special ability, besides them being pretty much indestructible, they've got yet another special ability. Venom does pretty much nothing to them, and we are talking extremely potent venom, like that from the black mamba. Worst case, they black out for a few hours and wake up with a severe hangover. Kind of like we humans do after a good old 2-day bender, only that we need a few days to recover. So honey badgers literally have built-in plot armor at this point. They've got no noticeable weakness other than being slow as heck, which ironically is why they are built to tank so much damage in the first place. Up until this point, I've been glazing the honey badger for being an unhinged little tank with zero regard for its own safety. But what if I told you that this thing isn't just built differently physically, it's also packing some serious brain power? And to prove that, we most definitely need to talk about Stoffle. Quite possibly the most intelligent honey badger to ever exist. It might actually be the smartest creature on the African continent altogether. I mean, some of the feats this little rascal has pulled off are just so insane that it's honestly hard to even believe. To start off, let me just quickly set the scene. So Stoffle was an orphaned honey badger raised by humans in South Africa, which meant he never properly learned how to survive in the wild. So he ended up at the Moholoholo Wildlife Rehabilitation Center, where he met his caretaker, Brian Jones. At first, they let him roam freely, which, in hindsight, was a catastrophic miscalculation. Because Stoffle immediately started doing what honey badgers do best, causing absolute chaos. He broke into food stores, invaded other enclosures, and at one point, even broke into a lion enclosure, which went about as well as you'd expect. He got messed up pretty badly, but of course, he survived, because dying is apparently optional for these things. But because of all this mayhem, Stoffle finally got his own little enclosure. But one morning, the staff found the gate wide open, with Stoffle nowhere in sight. At first, they assumed someone had forgotten to lock it, but then it happened again and again. Eventually, Brian realized that Stoffle had figured out how to open the latch himself. He would stand on his back legs, hook his claws around the metal, and slide the lock until the gate popped open. So Brian did the only logical thing. He added another lock further up the door. He also introduced Stoffle to Hammy, a female honey badger, hoping she would distract him and keep him focused on other things. But Stoffle is not the kind of guy to get whipped around by some random woman. Instead, he taught Hammy the art of escaping, and together, they basically became the Bonnie and Clyde of the animal kingdom. Stoffle would hold the door, while Hammy climbed up and unlocked each lock one by one before escaping together. After seeing this, Brian added metal wires around the locks, but that was just another game for Stoffle and Hammy. They used the same routine, only this time, they simply removed the wires first, before sliding the locks open, escaping once again. This final escape incident was the catalyst for a massive change to Stoffle's day-to-day life. Brian started to realize they needed something better, more secure, more honey badger proof. This sparked a genius idea, or so they thought. Enter the infamous honey badger Alcatraz. Now there is a huge number of stories to tell about this enclosure. If you want the full story, you can go watch my Stoffle video after this one. Basically, Stoffle managed to escape in ways you would never believe an angry little badger would be capable of. But the most noteworthy escape, that truly puts the honey badger's problem-solving skills on full display, is his last attempt after all other options were patched by the staff. One night, Brian woke up to the sound of breaking glass. It sounded like someone was robbing his house. A window had been shattered, the fridge door was wide open, and inside sat Stoffle, casually helping himself with some late-night snacks. The enclosure had no trees, no tools, no rocks, and nothing he could use to climb, yet he was somehow out again. The next morning, Brian inspected the enclosure and rather quickly noticed several round clumps of mud piled in one corner. You see, it had rained the night before, which had turned the otherwise dry dirt into thick, sticky clay, and Stoffel had literally rolled the mud into solid balls and stacked them up like stepping stones until they were high enough for him to climb out. Literally, some Bob the Builder type shit. Brian just stood there in disbelief. Stoffel had once again outsmarted everyone. No tools, no rocks, just a few mud balls and a dangerous amount of intelligence. If you think modern honey badgers already push the limits of being an absolute menace, imagine scaling one up to the size of a cheetah. That's basically what Ichorus ikacaran was. Around 6 million years ago, this 50-kilogram mustelid roamed Africa, built faster and taller than today's honey badgers, but still carrying that same aggressive, fearless mindset. Unlike most mustelids, it could actually chase prey over distance, making it a rare mix of speed and durability in a predator-heavy environment. But despite all that, Ichorus didn't survive. As Africa's ecosystem shifted, predators became more specialized. Some focused on speed, others on ambush, and many started working together. Ichorus got stuck in the middle, too big to hide, too small to dominate, and not optimized enough to compete. Over time, it disappeared. What survived instead were smaller, more adaptable mustelids. And that's how we ended up with the modern honey badger, not a giant apex predator, but a compact, armored menace that survives by being an absolute nightmare to deal with. The important thing to take away from this prehistoric legacy is the fact that honey badgers have pretty much been a force to be reckoned with across time and space. Well, maybe not space. I'm not sure I understand what that even means. Anyway, that's pretty much why I find the honey badger so interesting. They are just like onions. They smell bad, but there are layers to them. Anyways, before you leave, my human overlord has a few words for you.
Hopefully you enjoyed today's video, as it was sort of a 300k special, and as you've probably noticed, we are back to the original narrator. The reason for this is really quite simple. I've basically realized that changing something as important as a narrator, after growing the channel to such a large audience, would be a major disservice to all the loyal fans that have stuck around for literal years, so the channel will not change anytime soon. I will still appear here and there though, like whenever there are some important channel updates, like right now. I might actually just do all the outros, as it gives me a good way to talk to you guys directly, and also remind you that these videos do take a lot of hard work from actual humans to bring to life. However, I did have a lot of fun narrating myself, and for the people that also enjoyed my narration, I've decided to start up a second channel called Tim's Animals. There I will basically be making videos covering all my animal related adventures, be it pets, ecosystem experiments, fish tanks, zoo tours, or other random animal related activities. If that sounds interesting, you can go and subscribe through the link in the description, or search up Tim's Animals on YouTube. Anyways, thanks for watching.